Could everyone please find a seat? Good morning. I'm Emily Woodside, and thank you so much for being here today. We're going to hear from the nominees for the Vestry and learn a little bit more about our candidates. Be sure and come to the annual meeting next Sunday at 9:15 when we'll vote for one person to complete an unexpired term of Louis Gill. And then we'll vote for 5 people who will serve for a regular 3-year Vestry term. Today, each nominee will speak to the question, why are you willing to run for the Vestry? Jack Stratton and Allison Williamson had to be out of town today, so we will have stand-ins read their comments. Afterwards, we won't be taking questions for the nominees, but if there's time, please hang around and you can ask them individually anything that you need to know. Okay, we will go ahead and start with Jeffrey Block, who's nominated for the 1-year term, unexpired term.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say, Holy Communion is our home for our family because of all of you here. Christina and I, when we moved back to town in 2003. We came from different religious backgrounds. We decided when we moved back we were going to find a place that felt comfortable to both of us. We went to a lot of different churches, and it was when we got here, after we left here, we sort of looked at each other and both said, yeah, this is the place. And so it's been a very special part of our life. I got blessed to be baptized here in 2006 with my oldest daughter, Josie, and then we had Amelia baptized here in 2008. And so we've grown with this church, our family's grown with it, and it's an important part of our lives. I've also gotten to see how many of us in this church have been willing to sacrifice for this place. It's really special to see. I got to see it during my interesting times on Vestry from 2012 to 2014. We had a lot of changes going on, and watching everybody saying this was going to be our church and everything that everybody gave to it was very inspiring. I served as the clerk in 2013. I served as junior warden in 2014, and it was really exciting to see all of us decide, all right, what do we want to be? What do we want this church to be? And being part of that was really blew me away. Christina and I just finished being stewardship chairs this last term, and it's always impressive seeing everybody, all the generosity that people have given with both their time, talents, and money. I'm honored to being asked to fill the last year spot of Louis Gill's, and we've got a lot of exciting times coming up, and proud to be part of it. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Debbie Campbell. Robert and I, my husband and I, have been members at Holy Communion about 30 years, I think. We've raised 2 daughters here. We now have 2 sons-in-law and 3 grandchildren. And seeing them all participating here is a real blessing for us. In reflecting on why I would be willing to serve on the Vestry, the bookkeeper part of me came out. I work with Robert, and I do the books. I don't cook them, I just do them. But anyway, in my reflections, as I said, the bookkeeper part of me came out. And Holy Communion has afforded me this big account, if you will, full of friendships and relationships, community, Advent preparation, Christmas services, Lenten preparation, Easter services, beautiful liturgy, wonderful music, Bible studies, book studies, a wealth of an account. Well, Debbie's been writing checks. Debbie's been using her debit card on that account. And it's time to make a deposit. And so that's what I'd like to do. I was stewardship chairman several seasons ago, and we had Dan Matthews kick off that particular season. And Dan talked about giving from the standpoint of an abundance of gratitude. And I think service can be looked in that way also. So I simply said I would like to serve out of an abundance of gratitude. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Liz Crowner, and Debbie is a very hard act to follow. But the reason I'm standing here is pretty straightforward. I've been involved in this church for 13 plus years, been active in some things, not as active in others as I would have liked. But some other charitable responsibilities I had were kind of winding to a close, and my kids graduated from school, they're now out on their own, and I was at the point where I was thinking, it's time to do more here. And just as I was kind of having those thoughts, Robert Probst came up to me out of the blue one day and said, would you consider running for the vestry? And I don't believe things like that happen by coincidence, so I thought about it and I said, this is the time to say yes. So I said yes.
Good morning. My name is Tim McCormick, and I'm a lifelong parishioner of this parish. I am standing for election to the vestry for primarily two reasons, both involving faith. Number one is because of my faith in our rector, Sandy Webb, and his vision for this sacred space we all share as members of this parish. I share that vision. Number two would be my own faith. My faith in the people of this parish, my faith in the clergy and staff of this parish, but primarily my Episcopal faith. As a young child growing up in this parish, one thing that was taught to us at an early age and has stuck with me all these years is that we are all servants of God and that we should strive to live our lives to serve others. That was taught to us by not only our clergy, but also by Sunday school teachers and my mentors, such as Richard Wilson, Jack Bolton, David Thompson, Charles Crump, Dr. Robert Rook, the Reverend Eric S. Greenwood, the Reverend Dwayne T. Saba, and of course by my own family. I watched as they lived that servant's example every day, and I took heed. I have strived to live my life as a servant of God and a servant of this parish. I have continuously served as an acolyte or acolyte master in this parish for 47 years. My wife Patty and I have taught Sunday school. I have coached youth teams in basketball, baseball, and softball. I have served as an usher, lector, as a lay Eucharistic minister, as a key man for the annual Layman's Conference of the Episcopal Churchmen of Tennessee, and as the director of the Brotherhood of St. Andrew. I have previously served on the vestry. In fact, the first official words I ever spoke in my first vestry meeting were, "We need to build a new gymnasium." We have all known this for some 20-odd years. It's just taken the leadership of the Reverend Sandy Webb to make it happen. For almost 9 years, I worked for this parish as director of facilities, a job I truly loved, and I considered it more of a calling than a job. I couldn't wait to get to work every morning to ensure this place was meeting the needs of not only our parishioners and our partner of 64 years, St. Mary's Episcopal School, but also of the greater community. I have a vast understanding and knowledge of not only our physical plant and facilities, but of the history of this church. I appreciate and honor our past, but I eagerly await our future. And I would be honored to serve you and our parish by serving on the vestry. Thank you.
For those of you I don't yet have the pleasure of knowing, I'm Anne Morgan, Brookfield Morgan. I first want to thank Emily Woodside for nominating me and giving this opportunity to be considered for vestry this year. Having attended Holy Communion since I was 4 years old, I've spent over 30 years here in this parish. Seeing that I attended St. Mary's and was very active in church and school sports, it's safe to say that I typically spent about 7 days a week here on this campus during my school years. I consider Holy Communion home, not only because of the days I have spent in church, chapel, the gym, the soccer field, or on campus, but for many other reasons as well. First, it would be the people of this parish that helped mold and encourage the development of my values and morals that my parents had instilled in me. Church of the Holy Communion allowed me to be my own person, to grow in a safe and loving church community surrounded by unconditional love, filled with warm, considerate, and thoughtful hearts. Secondly, Church of the Holy Communion provided so many activities for me in which to grow as a person. Through the children's choir, sports teams, acolyting, youth programs, Sunday school classes, and weekly worship, my self-confidence increased, allowing me opportunities I might otherwise have felt uncomfortable in accepting. Holy Communion protected me from many obstacles that could have led me down life's more challenging pathways. I was fortunate enough to be selected as Rector of Happening my senior year, which to this day is one of my proudest accomplishments and most meaningful times of my life. I was honored to return years later as Big Sister at Happening. After college, I wanted to give back to this very community, this community that had done so much for me. Upon returning to Memphis, I enjoyed serving as a youth advisor here at Holy Communion for a number of years. I will say that working with the youth in this parish far exceeded my expectations and was such a rewarding experience. All right, after that came marriage, again, right here in this holy place. About 9 years ago, almost 9 years ago, I was fortunate enough to marry my best friend, Michael Morgan. Though this marriage further complicated my sometimes already confusing double name, now an exceptionally confusing total name, Anne Morgan, Lord Brookfield Morgan. You know, it must have been love. God has since blessed us with two spirited, loving, kind, fun, just amazing little girls, which y'all probably see running around these halls. Annalise, who's 6, and Mary Brooks, who will be 3 next week. It's so amazing to see them now call this place home, as I have for so many years. They feel right at home here, just like their mama, and they too are finding themselves here about 7 days a week. I have made lifelong friends here in this parish over time, and today I continue to have these opportunities through various parish activities, our 30s supper club, more than a meal, greeting, and numerous children's activities to continue to make and develop these lifelong friendships. God is so good. I'm so grateful for what this parish has done for me, and I am so appreciative of what it is doing now for my girls. As with the youth program when I returned from college, once again, I feel called to serve Holy Communion. I want to give back to my home church and to its community. I feel like the time is right for me to step up and serve our parish, with the girls no longer baby infants anymore, sadly. And also, my workload is lessened to just 4 days a week now. So I do feel like I have the time, and of course, I have the desire to give. Growing up, I was so blessed to have a father, my role model, that gave so much of his time, talent, and energy to this church. He was a very active parishioner, vestry member, and senior warden, and he still is active. I'm honored to have a chance to both learn and lead now for Holy Communion, and I hope to get to follow in his footsteps. Thank you all.
listening to Diane Morgan, I just wish that I had been here since I was 4 years old also. Maybe you should know something about what brought me to Holy Communion and what has kept me here for over 30 years. I was brought up in the Methodist Church, St. John's in Midtown, and I was active there. But after college and a first marriage, I fell away from the church and was unchurched for a number of years. My early 30s were a rough time for me. My biggest client was sold. I had a divorce, and my office manager, who was a member of Holy Communion, met a guy in a bar and ran off to Nebraska to get married. It was not an easy time. But my office manager also had a best friend who is now my wife, Sherry, and she introduced me to her and gave me that gift before she left town. Well, Sherry also was a member of Holy Communion at that time, and after we had dated for a considerable period of time, she suggested that I might want to come with her to church. And I came to this place and immediately was drawn to it. I met Reynolds. I came back the next week. He remembered my name. I could not believe that a preacher would give that kind of attention to someone who was new to the church, but he did. The combination of my marriage to Sherry, coming to this place and feeling the warmth and the people and the liturgy drew me to it and kept me here. The White House Sunday school classes that were probably somewhere in the area of where we are now. Mandy, you probably remember. But it kept me here. Sherry and I were married here on January 1st, 1988, and I was confirmed in June of '88. From that low point in my life, this church and its people have rekindled my dormant faith and helped me to draw closer to Christ. It has done so in many ways. I'm very proud to be an Episcopalian. I'm proud of the inclusiveness of the Episcopal Church. One of the things I like most about being an Episcopalian is being able to question religious matters openly and being a part of a church that believes in the three-legged stool of Scripture, tradition, and reason. Some churches want you to forget about reason, not here. You may not have heard that Robin Williams was an Episcopalian and that he once listed his top 10 reasons for being an Episcopalian. Some of them are silly, some are not. Two that I like the most in his list, well, some of the silly ones were starting off with number 10, no snake handling, and number 9, you can believe in dinosaurs. Those are the silly ones, but two that I like so much are the ones that say, male and female, God created them. Male and female, we ordain them. And also, you don't have to check your brains at the door. I served on the Vestry about 20 years ago and was stewardship chairman shortly after that. I've been an usher and a lector. I've been here through good times and tough times and know that we are experiencing the best of times now. I'm excited about the plans for the ministry area and want to be a part of that planning, since I intend, if at all possible, to be here for the rest of my life and probably be buried in the columbarium. Holy Communion, this place, its parishioners brought me back to the church. It is a gift and a blessing that I receive, that I cherish. It is my spiritual home, a place where my spirit is renewed and my mind is stimulated. It is a place I want to sustain and help prosper so that others may receive the gift that I have received, and so children nurtured spiritually in this place will be imbued with memories and teachings that will forever draw them to Christ and the church. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Rick Rowe. I'm married to Mandy Rowe, who is a longtime parishioner, and she actually brought me here to Holy Communion, and we were married here. First of all, I wanted to say it's an honor to be nominated to serve on the vestry, and I want to thank Daniel Amsler for nominating me. What compels me to serve on the vestry is several things. First of all, I believe Holy Communion is a very special place because of the church family here. I've been a member of Holy Communion for 4.5 years and was immediately welcomed as part of the church family, as was my son Chris, who comes to visit every so often. This is a very open and loving congregation, and I have learned so much from all of you, from a spiritual and intellectual basis and through friendships. We also have so many talented people at this church. who are devoted to giving of themselves to make the church a special place. I have formed friendships here that will last a lifetime and hopefully beyond. Serving on the vestry is my way of showing gratitude and appreciation for the blessings you have given me. Secondly, the energy level at Holy Communion is electric. The enthusiasm and participation level here is beyond measure and contagious. We have an outstanding clergy and staff and the trusted hands of Sandy Webb at the tiller to thank for that. Our current vestry has accomplished so much, keeping us on firm financial footing to support ministries that include pastoral care, outreach efforts, exceptional educational offerings, and guest speakers who provoke thought and insight, while also guiding us into an exciting future with much-needed capital improvements to the church. I appreciate all that the vestry has done and would like to be more directly involved in continuing their efforts. And lastly, I'm able to and would like to serve you by devoting my time and talents to the vestry at a time where we are faced with great opportunity and the challenges that come with it. I have experience in budgeting, financial management, and project planning that should be of help with the upcoming capital project and other vestry duties. I spent a career devoted to serving the public and now would like the opportunity to serve you. Every Sunday at the 10:30 service, I experience one aspect of the legacy of Holy Communion when I look at the generations who worship here. I want to help ensure that future generations worship at Holy Communion and that our church family will continue to grow. Thank you.
Sorry, you'll have to hear from me twice today. Jack Stratton had asked me to speak for him. I've gotten to know him. He coaches with me over at MUS for the last 13 years, so we've become pretty good friends. So I'll probably butcher his words reading them, but here it is. First, a little background on who I am. I was born and raised in West Virginia in an Episcopal family. My uncle is a retired Episcopal priest. After college and grad school, I moved to Dallas. While there, I got married to Cindy almost 27 years ago. Our 3 kids, John, Rebecca, and Susanna, were all born there. We got the opportunity to move to Memphis in 1998 and have enjoyed raising our kids here. I'm the CFO of Stratus Foods, a food manufacturing firm based here in Memphis. The church has been a hugely important part of our family life since we moved here. Everyone in our immediate family is a cradle Episcopalian. My wife and I were married in an Episcopal church in Dallas, and our kids were baptized and confirmed at Episcopal churches. Since moving to Memphis, we have been involved in the church in a variety of ways. In addition to our stewardship participation, I have also served as an usher and Eucharistic minister. Our kids were involved in youth ministry until they went off to college, going to happening weekends and pilgrimages. Holy Communion is a very special place, and it's a great time to be at Holy Communion. It is also an exciting time to be at Holy Communion. I'm willing to serve on the vestry because I see it as another way to contribute to our church community. If elected, I look forward to working with the other vestry members, staff, and all of you to continue growing this sacred presence in the heart of Memphis. Jack.
Good morning. These are the words of Allison Williamson. Good morning. I regret that I'm unable to be with you today in person, but I'm honored to have my story shared through the voice of a beloved friend, Kay Gamble. I was baptized and confirmed in the ELCA Lutheran Church. Church life was always a very important part of my upbringing. Sunday school, attending church weekly, Wednesday night fellowship, and youth trips were a norm during my teenage years. While at the University of Tennessee, I was active at Tyson House, which is a Lutheran Episcopal student-run organization. I was intrigued by the Episcopal faith, and I explored it further when I returned to Memphis. I chose to join the Church of the Holy Communion as an adult after attending with close friends. I instantly felt God's presence. Holy Communion has now become a second home. In fact, my husband Richard and I were married at Holy Communion in 2015. God's calling for my life's work as a nurse in the cardiac transplant unit at Baptist coincides with my desire to serve you as a member of the vestry at Church of the Holy Communion. Through the principles of servant leadership, I will define and articulate the mission of this parish. ensure effective organizational planning, and aid in the management of resources and finances. It will be a blessing to serve you in such a capacity. Over the years, I have served in a variety of areas at Holy Communion, as a teacher in the junior high formation class, as a guest speaker in a Sunday morning adult forum series, as a member of the search committee for our current minister of hospitality, and as an active member of the young adult ministry. Not so surprising, while serving all of these roles at Holy Communion, I have also been served spiritually. When I was thinking about all the exciting things that are happening here at Holy Communion, the word that comes to mind was growth. The growth that we are seeing today as a result of the vision and mission carried out by generations of our leaders and parishioners. While exciting, there is still work to be done so that future generations can reap what is sown over the next 3 years and beyond. Hence, this is the reason that I am thrilled about the capital campaign, our continued financial growth, and our commitment to the community and one another as a church family. The growth of our facilities through the capital campaign will bring a new series of ministries and outreach programs to the corner of Perkins and Walnut Grove. It will also provide a space where we can grow in faith and fellowship together as brothers and sisters in Christ. While it is truly always a great time to be here at Holy Communion, may our focus remain on our spiritual growth through Jesus Christ. Thanks be to God. Allison.
Oh, thank God. Dramatic
Y'all don't know, but I've just come from the airport in Nashville, and I'm living proof you can get here in less than 3 hours. And I can tell you where the policemen are around Jackson. Hi, I'm Kavis Smith, and I'm honored to be considered to serve on our vestry. My time working on the capital campaign, I've gotten to know a lot of you all a lot better, and I've been able to listen to your ideas and concerns, and I'd like to serve on the vestry to help implement those things, and I too am very excited about the growth here. When I was asked why I wanted to serve, my immediate response was because this is my home of worship, and this is my home for outreach, and this is my home for support for myself and for others. And I have the time to devote to working with and own a vestry. I've worked on vestries before, and for any of you that have ever done stewardship, I did it for 7 years in a row at one of our parishes. So I know the challenges that lie there. Steve and I have moved 17 times, and we've been in a lot of different Episcopal churches. None, though, exude the warmth and the friendliness as much as Holy Communion. I want to tell you a little bit about something that happened to me on my 3rd Sunday here. I was sitting next to a young man, and at the end of the service, I turned to him and asked, "Are you new here?" And he had this look on his face, and he said, "Is it obvious? I'm not an Episcopalian." And I said, No. It's just that I'm tired of being the new person. I want to be the person that welcomes the new person. So welcome to Holy Communion. And he laughed, and I asked him what had brought him here, and then he paused, and he got very serious, and he said, "My wife is dying of cancer, and we have a young baby, and I don't have a church. And at the hospital, I spoke to a chaplain over the phone, and he works here, and I just wanted to thank him in person." Well, my heart really went out to him, and I found someone I knew who connected him with Ollie Rencher. I didn't know Ollie would be so recognizable in this parish, but he was able to connect with him. So I got this young man's address, and I told him I was going to bring him dinner that night. And several people overheard me and talking to him and immediately volunteered to provide meals over the next several weeks, and it turned into months. This young man came to our parish as a stranger, and he left enveloped in love. And what I love about Holy Communion, this man needed people, and we became his people. I love being part of a church that does that. We identify a need, and we fill it. and I want to serve on our vestry to continue meeting those responsibilities. Thank you.
I'm Tom McQuiston, so I will give as a member of the vestry that's rolling off. Emily had asked me, one, to be the timekeeper. I want to commend everybody for keeping on schedule. In fact, I did this sophisticated system that I have to show you. It was like 2, 1, 1, 0 for how many minutes was left, and I never got to 0. In fact, I never got to 1. So wonderful job. I think all of us will agree that we're very fortunate to have such a great slate of candidates and nominees for the vestry. And it's not easy to get up here and especially talk about yourself and toot your own horn. So I hope that you all will join me in thanking everyone here for doing such a wonderful job. Wonderful and timely. The final thing I'd like to remind you of is if you didn't know, the Episcopal Church is not a democracy. It's not structured as a democracy. But we do get one chance to vote every year. And that's at our annual meeting for the vestry, members of the vestry. So I really want to encourage you to be here to exercise your one right to vote. It's very important. And please pass that message along to others that aren't here. It would be great to have, our annual meeting is a wonderful event. We celebrate afterwards with a wonderful luncheon. And please, everyone, please come and encourage others to do so as well. And we're ahead of schedule. So I want to ask you all, if you all will stick around, if anyone would like to ask questions personally of the candidates, they'll be here. Thanks again, everyone. See you next week.